I remember watching Shawn Michaels versus Hulk Hogan for the first time ever because I was at the event. I was at SummerSlam 2005, I believe that year it was. And I remember watching it, and I was just like, I was really hyped up to see this match. Like, I felt the build up at the time was excellent. Like, Shawn Michaels being portrayed as this guy that he used to be back in 1998. When I look back at what happened behind the scenes, but I'll get to that in a second. Uh, like the match, I thought was good. Like I did think like Shawn Michaels was acting cartoonish and overselling. That's what made it most memorable for me. And Hulk Hogan bleeding profusely a lot in the match, and Shawn Michaels grabs the steel chair, whacks Hogan on the head with it, and I can hear this audience member scream. And when I looked back on that match, and I ultimately did enjoy, had fun watching the match despite the overselling it had and, well, all the drama that had happened. But what made this match more interesting is what happened behind the scenes. You see, allegedly, Shawn Michaels had pitched to Vince or someone in the creative team that he wanted to do a face versus face match where Shawn Michaels wants to know, can I beat the immortal Hulk Hogan? And then Hulk Hogan, being, well, Hulk Hogan, decide to bitch and whine and moan and complain, saying, I want a face versus heel match. I want a face versus heel match. And Vince having no choice because he gave Hulk Hogan creative control because God knows that's a good idea to give an egomaniac creative control over something, to have a face versus heel match, and that started the face versus heel feud between Shawn Michaels, where Shawn Michaels played a heel for the first time since 1998, and Hulk Hogan would be the face. And this would be Hulk Hogan's first SummerSlam match since 1991. So that's really saying something. And apparently, they also added something that I really felt like should be added nowadays is how the fact that these two guys were undefeated at SummerSlam. So it would be streak versus streak, legend versus legend, icon versus legend. It would be that kind of match. So when I saw this match, I really hyped up for it. Like I felt the build up was like dark and I look at it and the behind the scenes is more interesting because you know that there was something wrong here. Like Shawn Michaels wanted it to be a classic face versus face, but Hogan wanted it to be a heel versus face match. So Vince McMahon conformed to Hulk Hogan because, well, Hulk Hogan has the biggest fucking ego in the history of fucking wrestling. So yeah, and like they wanted to do a rematch with Shawn Michaels and Hulk Hogan, this time a steel cage match at the next Raw pay per view because at the time Raw and SmackDown were still brand divided. Raw had their own pay per views, SmackDown had their own pay per views, so they had to trade places each consecutive month. So they wanted to do a rematch in September, or was it October, a steel cage match where Shawn Michaels would get the win, but Hulk Hogan whined and said, "Well, you see, Shawn. Well, here's the idea. Shawn Michaels gets on top of the cage, about to go down, but I escape through the door." And WWE finally grew balls and said, "No, we want to do Shawn Michaels wins over you because you get this victory now. So why can't you just do it for Unforgiven?" I think it was. And Hulk Hogan decides to whine about it again, and then ultimately says, you know what, fuck it. I'm taking the money I got from SummerSlam and I'm going home. And Shawn Michaels would cut a promo the next night venting his frustrations because WWE was mad. Shawn Michaels was furious. And they really gave it away a lot in the documentary about Shawn Michaels at the time, where they hint that Hogan did business on his own, and Shawn Michaels tried to do business the right way while Hulk Hogan was in the wrong. And I have to agree with Shawn Michaels because it's not just because I hate Hulk Hogan a lot on a personal level and his way of handling things professionally, and I use that with heavy quotations on them. Um, so like I did enjoy this match. I really thought it was a classic to me. But if I looked back on what happened back then and I looked at it now, if I could go back in time, I probably would not have went to that show. Like, That was the match I was looking forward to the most. Like, in fact, I kind of forgot half of the matches on the show. I had completely forgotten. Wait, Matt Hardy and Edge fought on this match show. I don't recall that. The only matches I remember is Shawn Michaels versus Hulk Hogan, obviously. I also remember. I also remember Eddie Guerrero versus Rey Mysterio for the custody of Dominic. Which now looking back on it, while it was a good match, I thought, yeah, that's pretty stupid. Like, really, they're gonna fight over this kid, and like, can't they do that in the courtroom? No, we have to settle in the ring. Like that was just stupid. Um, I had also forgotten that Chris Benoit, he who must not be named, fought Orlando Jordan, was it? And I forgot about that since that match was so short, 25 seconds from what I gathered. Um, the only matches I do remember is the Eddie Guerrero versus Rey Mysterio, Chris Jericho versus John Cena for the third time, and they would do a fourth one the next night, and Batista versus JBL, which was originally before Hassan was originally that was supposed to be his night. Like, I'll get to that in a video, but like I said, but like Shawn Michaels and Hulk Hogan, it was, to me it was a classic because I went there, but ultimately it's vilified and hated because of Hulk Hogan's way of doing business. And I did find contradictory to Hulk Hogan when he did this contract signing with Shawn Michaels, where Hulk Hogan said, "All you had to do was ask," and I'm like, "But he did ask. You said no unless you were a heel. So really, Shawn Michaels did ask, but you said no because he was a good guy and he wanted him to be a bad guy." And I did find one hilarious moment in the feud was Hulk with Shawn Michaels impersonating Hulk Hogan and making all this mockery. I thought that was the highlight. Like the feud had dark moments, but like that was the biggest funny highlighted moment for me. Just to see, like, me and my friends watched that segment last year or so, and we laughed our asses off about that. Like that was just hilarious. Let me tell you something, brother. This is a dream match, brother. One that I've always dreamed of, brother. But I'll be 100 years old by then, brother. He's moving on bonus time. Let me ask you a question, okay? Like, the segment with Shawn Michaels and Larry King is just a classic to me. That's one of the big highlights, other than the behind the scenes look at it. So those are my thoughts on Hulk Hogan versus Shawn Michaels at SummerSlam 2005. This was Neo Reality Entertainment. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and donate. Stay tuned for more.